Hi everybody, welcome back to YouTube, and I'm glad to have all the new subscribers and happy for the ones that have been around, still leaving me little comments since I started. And today we're going to talk about my purple phal that I've had in the window since December 24th in bloom. It stayed there the whole winter. And it has a few blossoms left. They got a tiny bit of scale. They're oozing liquid. They're ready to be cut off, but I'm not gonna throw it out. I've got a little spot for them. I went out in the garden and I picked some Korean lilac. And one of the little dishes with little prickles in the bottom. So I thought, well, I'd make a little display with what I cut off. And I've put my scissors underneath the gas stove and also wiped them with alcohol. So we'll get right at that. And I'm going to cut it in two spots. I'm going to cut it probably first up higher. I'm going to cut the stalk right down near the base of the plant because I don't want it to bloom again. It's already getting a little spike, which I can show you later, and two aerial roots already growing. So what I'm going to do is put this in here. Get it the right way. There we go. Just a minute. There we go. So there, I have a beautiful display in my kitchen. I can still enjoy it for probably another 2 or 3 weeks, I hope. And it smells beautiful because of the Korean lilac. But anyway, I'll get this out of the way. And we have to I've been soaking the orchid in the sink here. I'll put it on something. There we go. We'll just drain it. The reason I find soaking works better for saving the roots, and these holes, I'm going to have to be very careful when I try to get them out of there because the plastic pots, you can flex a bit and it loosens the bark mulch, and you can also it makes it easier to loosen the roots and get the whole plant out in one place. But I think I'll cut this back right down to the first node here. So there's the stem. Now you can see the problem with this. Now this is one of my first 2 orchids I had, and when I went out shopping for pots, of course, you know, you got your first orchid and you looked on YouTube and you found out what to do with it, and this is the type of pot I bought. I've had 2 in these pots and they've done really well. This had another orchid and it did well, and I've repotted it. So now what we've got here is two strong aerial roots growing there, but if you look right in, see if I can get it. Do you hear water dripping on the floor? Right in there, you will see another spike coming. I know it's a spike because it has the flattened end, and at least I'm used to that. So what we're going to do is, phalaenopsis orchids are monopodial, meaning they keep growing from the original single stem. They lose a few leaves on the bottom and they keep growing, and you end up with a long stem above the water. Now this has been in this pot for 3 years. I don't know what I'm going to find. And although it has lots of really healthy roots, some people suggest cutting it off, that it doesn't hurt them. They keep growing really good, the top plant. The bottom plant, from everything I understand, will not start a new plant. It could start some keikes, but which are your little baby plants. But it's unlikely to ever grow again from that original stock and be the same plant. It'll start some new plants maybe in 7 months. And I might try that. We'll see. First I want to see if I do want to cut it. I think in the forest they grow natural. No one ever comes around and chops the bottom off. So I found a bigger pot. It's a little bit bigger than the other one. And what I did, because there's some pottery that wasn't painted inside, I soaked this pot so that it doesn't draw water from the potting mix when I put it in. And something else I did was, I hate these pots that come with the saucers stuck to the pot. And they always collect water, and you don't want water sitting down there. So what I did, out in the shed, I took a hammer and I lightly tapped the saucer, and it came off just beautiful. So I was quite happy about that. So this is all washed and ready to go. I have my tools in case I have to operate. I've soaked my bark mulch. I have the thicker mulch here, and the stuff that, if this bucket was the thinner stuff that seems to settle in the bottom of your bag, and I have welcome back. Well, here we are. I very, very carefully shook this out. Some of these were like this. I'm going to try and get the same ones that were outside through the holes in the other pot. I don't see anything squishy or soft or brown. Signs of something being rotten would be it's black, it's soft and squishy. In the very center here, it's dry. And I'm not going to cut it off. You know, the bark from this pot was because I used the potting mix. I think it was Schultz's for orchids. It's still fairly good. And if I didn't have this long monopodial stalk sticking out so far, I would probably have just shook some of the mulch out and put in a little bit of new. I mean, it really wasn't that bad. And it's going in the same type of pot, so I'll probably take some of my new bark and put some in the bottom. And I'm not cut. Some people say cut them off. I'm not cutting them off. I don't like to. I'm going to try and thread some of these through the holes. And even the ones that were a little brown or thin, I'm going to put them through a hole. And this one, they were out, they're going to stay out. So I kind of like them like that. And that one was out. And so what I'm going to do is just sort of try and deal with the ones that are green, because I don't want them rotting in the pot. They're used to being outside the pot, and I prefer them to stay outside the pot. That one, wow, okay. So there you go. And one more over here. It's hard to say which way to. Then we got a lower in there. Okay. This is kind of like threading a needle. Okay, I think we got most of them. Those are going to stay out. Now, this is a little bit bigger pot, so let's see how far down he'll go. Oh dear, this isn't going to work. Oh dear. I don't want to cut it. Okay, this is what happens in your normal work, but oh boy, what should I do? You know, I don't even, well, oh boy. You know what? I'm going to take a few minutes to do this properly, and I'll be back because I think it won't mind being squished in there because it's been in a smaller pot. It's just you don't want to watch me while I spend maybe 20 minutes doing this, and I'll get back to you as soon as I've got it in. It will go. I refuse to cut it off. Okay, just wait. Hi there. Boy, that was challenging. It looks like the beach again on the floor. But I had to run out. I don't know if you remember that Jack drilled a bunch of holes in this purple porcelain pot, and I decided to use it. Now I'm going to soak a little bit more of the big pieces of bark to put, let's show you what I've done here. I've got it in. And I'm going to soak a little bit more. I'm going to fill it up a little higher, but I don't want to put what was in the bottom of the box. I took a few fingerfuls of this out. Let's see if you can see it. And this was from the bottom of the box. And I just sprinkled some here and there because if this ended up all in one spot, there would be no roots breathing. And I don't want that to happen. So it's good if you can find some just orchid bark to mix in with it as you go. It'll last longer. You got all the micronutrients and things that they put in there, and the extra little things, and yet it's not all in one spot, suffocating your flower. So what I'm going to do is fill that up a little bit more and shake it down, and this is its new pot. And it's not plastic, but it's used to being like that. And I have this little straw. This is my handy straw. So when I'm done, I go, and I get all the little bits of water that are in around the roots. I blow around, or anything that's left on the plant. And so I had a small straw, but don't ever do it with a small straw because you'll start to have not hallucinations, but you'll just feel faint or something because you can't walk around. But this one, it's a lot better, and I use it all the time. If I accidentally get the water near the center of my plant, I blow it out if the paper towel doesn't work. Now, I'm not going to fertilize it for probably 2 weeks, and when I do, and this is what I use for all the ones outside, if I can get this, there we are, because it has the higher nitrogen for foliage. What I want now is foliage to grow. I want the plant to rest. So I'm sticking with that. And when they come in around Halloween, I'll switch to the other one with the higher center number. And I'll still be using my 222 spray. And I decided not to cut it off. Some people are going to say, she should have cut it off, but I decided to go with the bigger pot. Now, with a bigger pot, I definitely don't need to, in the summer, once a week, water. It'll hold more moisture, but it's the same size as my recycled paint cans. And the plants that were in those just grew wonderfully, so I'm not concerned, just as long as I don't overwater. But you know, you can spray mist in the holes on all your plants, and it tends to go around the outside, which dries quicker. It's a lot better than wondering if you should water and putting it down the center of your pot. So that turned out good. Find a nice little saucer, purple for under it, and that way I didn't have to operate. So I'm sure happy about that. And it should be interesting to find out if you guys have had any results with your long monopodial stem. And I thought, well, I could have cut off a little bit, but the roots were all good on it. I hate to cut it off. So there you go. And that's it for today. And we'll get back to you in a couple of weeks and see how everything's going. Thank you.